All right, guys, welcome back to another Power Talk. Hope everybody had a great week of training, week of tracking, week of greatness. Today's topic will be about how to track and log complicated ass recipes. I want to make this as short and simple as possible. As we all know, tracking could be a little bit of a bitch and annoying, could be tedious, and oh my God. So, if you're just starting off, this is probably not for you. We're gonna take it a notch. Simple is key. Simple is key, and that's why when all of you start off, I talk about keeping the meals as simple as possible. We're talking about 3 ingredient meals, 4 ingredient meals. That's what's gonna be the easiest to track and log. However, simple is key, but sometimes simple is not as delicious. Or what if you wanna, log that crazy recipe in your family that is like lasagna with all of this, or that crazy rice and chicken and one of those like big pot type of meals that you're like, how the hell am I gonna track this? Or potato salad or those meals that have 10 plus ingredients. Those are complex. Complex recipes are a little bit more complicated, but it doesn't have to be a tracking nightmare. Today's call, I'm going to show you how to accurately calculate and log macros for a complicated ass recipe. Let's get started. So, the very first thing that you got to do is that you got to know everything that's gonna be going into that recipe. And like if you don't have a list of recipes, if you're like say maybe you're playing it by ear, playing it by eye, you have to measure everything. Like all the ingredients that you're gonna use, you have to measure it. So if you're not sure how much tomato you're gonna use, just make sure you measure how much tomato you actually end up using. List everything. Write down every ingredient with exact amounts. Don't forget oils, spices, and small additions. Obviously, use a food scale. Measure ingredients in grams for precision. You have to do this in grams, 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 grams. Don't do volume measurements like cups or volume measurements like cups are a no-no. Don't do that. Go with grams. That's gonna be the most accurate. Now, find nutrition data. Look up accurate nutrition information from product labels or reliable data apps, which most of you use our app to track this thing. Some of you use MyFitnessPal as well. Both of them are great, and this training will be great for both of them. They're gonna be the same thing. So, the first thing you got to do is you have to sum up everything. You have to sum up everything, add all the calories, protein, carbs, and fat values from each ingredient. This gives you the recipe total nutrition. Obviously, we're gonna do this. You could literally write everything, all the ingredients, have them written down, or maybe you have the ingredient list already. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna log each ingredient into the app. That way you know what's gonna be the total macros of all the ingredients that you're gonna use. So all of you know how to do this or should know how to do this. So you look up the ingredient and this is where you got to put all the ingredients, all of them. 10 ingredients, 15 ingredients, absolutely everything. You go one by one. The thing has carrots, add the carrots. The thing has rice, add the rice. The thing has ground beef, add the ground beef. The thing has onions, add onions. The thing has potatoes, add potatoes. The thing has pasta, add the pasta. One by one, you're gonna be going and adding everything to essentially a meal. On like you're pretending you're adding a meal, just that one meal is gonna be the whole thing. The whole thing. Just follow along. The whole thing is gonna be one meal. So once you get log that humongous meal, which is the whole recipe, then you're gonna write down the total amount of calories, the total amount of protein that has, the total amount of carbs, and the total amount of fat. Write that down on the side, and then you could literally just like erase that meal. You won't need it. Um, Good. Now after that. We logged that humongous meal. We know the macros. Now it's time to cook. Cook the recipe. Follow the instructions. Prepare your recipe according to direction. Make sure all ingredients are incorporated. Minimize waste. Be careful not to lose ingredients during cooking. Scrape bowls completely. Use spatula effectively. You gotta get everything, 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 everything. If you accounted for all those macros, you gotta make sure you get everything the best of your abilities. Let it cool. Allow food to cool briefly before weighing. Very hot food can affect scale readings. So it's just let it cool for a little bit, and then you're gonna weigh out the whole thing. So the whole thing, you're gonna choose a big container. So like this is you gotta make sure you don't fuck up with this. So let's recap. Let's not lose you. You have the total amount of calories, protein, carbs, and fats that the recipe is gonna have. You should finish cooking the whole recipe, whether that be in a glass dish or in a big ass pot, whatever. And then now you're gonna need another big ass pot. So you're gonna put the empty big ass pot on the scale, zero it out, and then you're gonna put all the recipe on the scale. And then you're gonna see how much does that weigh in grams. So how much does the whole recipe weigh in grams? Dun, dun, dun. Then you're gonna create a custom food in the app. Enter the recipe details, input total nutrition, set serving size, save your entry. Now, some of you have done this, some of you have not. Quick recap with our app. You go to custom right here. You either go recent, favorite, or custom. You go to custom. You give the food the name, make sure you're specific to so you know what you're talking about. And then here, very important, where it says serving size, you're gonna put the total amount of weight. So you weight the whole pot on the scale and you're gonna put right there how much did that whole pot weigh. Like say it's 1,000 grams. You put it there, you put that there, 1,000 grams. And then here at the same spot, we put the total macros that we got from the beginning from all the ingredients. So you put total calories, total protein, total carbs, and total fat. And boom, you save. And voila. All right, there's still more. So now you have your custom recipe logged in the app, saved there. So then now you put your whole recipe in a big bowl and you save it in the refrigerator. Now it's time to eat. Now you bring it out, you put it in a bowl, you measure it in grams. It has to be in grams. This won't work if you do it anywhere else. So in grams, you measure how many grams are you having of that big bowl, and then you plug it in. You pick the custom food, and then you adjust the serving. You adjust the serving to whatever grams you're gonna have. Like, so you're gonna have 100 grams of that recipe. The calculator and the app would adjust everything evenly, the macros, the calories, the carbs, and the fats. So automatic calculation. Dun dun dun. But what about sourdough? So some of you like to cook sourdough. I'm actually gonna be cooking sourdough soon, baking actually. Sourdough is very interesting, but there's a way around it. So you repeat all the same steps. Literally, all the ingredients that you're gonna put on the batch of sourdough is the same thing. You add all those ingredients. The only difference is that you only log the flour of the starter. What do I mean by that? So some of you don't have any idea what I'm talking about, but uh the sourdough, you create this gooey thing called the starter. So since the starter is half flour, you will add 50% of the starter weight as the flour you use. So when you're adding ingredients, for example, if you use 100 grams of your starter, then that means that half of that starter is actual flour. So then you will log half of that, which is 50 grams of whatever flour you use to the recipe. So every time you bake, you take the starter into account and then you take all the ingredients that you added to the batch into the account. And then same deal. Afterwards, you weigh the whole loaf and then you create a custom recipe and then you do that. Or you can just use the macros from the Whole Foods sourdough bread, which is the one I use. But, you know, I bet they're very similar. Whole Foods makes decent sourdough. They do have a shitload of ingredients, but you know, it's doable. If you want to really, really track your sourdough, then you could do it this way. Guys, making track easy. Recap. Accuracy matters. Precise ingredients and weighing create reliable tracking. Per gram calculations, you have to use grams when you're doing this. This is going to be the easiest way. If your app divides total macros by total weight automatically when you use grams like this. Flexible portions. Weigh any size portion, log the grams, the app does the math. Consistent results. This method works for any recipe, no matter how complex, no matter how many ingredients, no matter what you got. Any questions, concerns? If you get lost in the sauce, please share your questions on the Facebook group and I will answer those. But hopefully, after this training, you'll be able to track and log those complicated ass recipes, that family recipe, that big pot, and it won't be a nightmare. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace. Woo woo. What's going on?